This one right here.
You only get one shot.
I like this one.
To pick out your first ever Christmas tree.
Sweating bullets right now.
Mike and Josie Schrad just want theirs to fit in their room.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like the Griswolds used to do it. Yep.
So why go through so much trouble
Timber
for a tree?
There's a lot of traditional people that enjoy the old Christmas.
I just like that both of our families had real trees when we were growing up, so now we can start that tradition as well.
I don't know, I guess I'm old school.
Dennis Morgan started farming trees
Firs, spruces, white pines.
back in 1990. He now grows several hundred across 2 plots of land. Christmas means big profits for tree farmers across Iowa. It's where Dennis and his wife, Sue, owner of Morgan Oaks, earn up to half their profits. They sell trees at $7 per foot while offering the full experience.
All right.
Allowing customers to select and cut their own trees before they're hauled away, shaken, baled, and tied to a vehicle. Lately, conditions have been far from perfect for tree farmers. Droughts over the last few years have hurt the crop.
So a few years down the road, it's going to be a slim on the trees.
The Morgans and other farmers can only do so much, knowing they have to rely on Mother Nature for much of the help. But for now, business is good. They sold around 50 trees on Friday alone. It's their way of helping a long-time holiday tradition live on.
Total family fun.
It does have some brood in it.
Kurt Bronnenberg knows bees.
I kind of been around it all my life.
At Spring Valley Farms in Perry, he collects and sells both their most popular product along with a few bee accessories.
Antique honey pots and honey jars and beekeeping equipment.
But over the last few years, Bronnenberg has noticed a problem. Bees are disappearing, and at an alarming rate.
Explaining that is what's the problem, is how that sudden die-off has occurred.
Now, Bronnenberg says the recent honeybee decrease is the result of a perfect storm of varroa mites, less foraging, and pesticides.
Some of these problems have been around for years, like lack of bee forage, which has changed from alfalfa and canola to corn and beans. Pesticides and varroa mites have been 2 other longtime issues. So it all adds up to one big mystery.
It's not going to be one thing. I think it's more a mix of a lot of different things.
Many beekeepers have been combating colony collapse disorder, as it's been dubbed, by splitting their hives in 2, sometimes 3. But this gets expensive. The fact that 1/3 of our food supply is reliant on pollination, things like apples, cucumbers, almonds, and cranberries, make this problem all the more urgent.
When we have a problem like this that exists, we need to start figuring it out now rather than later, because whatever the problem is, if we can correct it now, maybe we can avoid a lot of problems.
Oh, say does that. It's a day I'll never forget as long as I live.
Iowans gathered to remember the fallen, the survivors, and their families Saturday.
It was a terrible day.
Survivors like Leland Lester,
92, yes.
who was in Hawaii the day of the attacks. Lester was working as a mess cook on the USS Pennsylvania that day when all of a sudden,
What the hell was that?
he saw the unmistakable planes
When I saw those big circles on the ship, on the plane, I knew exactly what was happening.
and their resulting destruction.
The bomb would come down about 2 compartments over from where I was walking.
For more than 50 years, he would never talk about that day. That was until 20 years ago. Now he talks to schools, sharing his story.
I feel great that I can do this. I feel great that I can be able to talk to people and tell them what's going on.
Lester, along with Clarence Fundheller, made up the 2 survivors on hand Saturday. The governor's proclamation was read, and a wreath was laid to honor all of those affected by the tragic day.
This is something we never want to happen again. Right. War is terrible, and we don't want it to occur again.
It's a memory that will be etched into Lester's head for the rest of his life.
I saw too many of my shipmates slide down the plank into the ocean, never to see their loved ones again. And when they play taps, I think about that.
Memories Lester has now shared with countless people.
I think everybody should know exactly what did happen, what started World War II.
It's very sad, but on the other hand, I'm very proud of my dad and Clarence and all the other men and women that have given their lives for our country.